thank you everyone for joining. We were trying to get Dennis's camera working before we opened the session and it just isn't cooperating. So we're gonna have to work with audio. But anyway, welcome back to the NNP Symposium. This is our last session of this one for the entire thing. So thank you for sticking it out and seeing it through to the end for anyone watching. We will be doing a Q&A as part of the show. It's not at the very end for this one. It'll kind of come up in the middle. So if you have any questions, just send them in when they occur to you, and we will kind of ask for questions as we're doing that part as well. So you will have a little bit of time to send them in once you know it's happening. But we will be doing that portion. And one more time, we want to thank the Eric P. Newman Numismatic Education Society, or EPNIS, for funding the entire symposium and enabling us to make it free for everyone. So for this last presentation, we will be recording an episode of the Coin Show podcast. It's been part of our lineup since, I believe, the very first symposium.
Yes.
So we're always very excited to have these guys back. We have Matt Dinger and Mike Nottelmann, who are the usual hosts of the podcast. And then our special guest is Dennis Tucker, who we will be able to hear, even if his camera is not working. So I believe that is it for me. So I will let you guys take it away. And when you get to the news, I'll pop those up and we should be good to go.
All right.
All righty.
You want to start with audio, Matt?
I'm going to hit a button. You ready?
Cool.
This is the Coin Show podcast. A podcast about coins and coin collecting from the perspective of both dealers and collectors. Hosted by two guys with a passion for collecting and a combined experience of over 50 years in the coin industry. Here's Matt Dinger and Mike Nottelmann on the Coin Show podcast.
And welcome to the Coin Show podcast, live from the Newman Numismatic Portal Symposium. You say that again. Once again, and since this is a special show, we brought a special guest. He is the publisher at Whitman.com, Kentucky Colonel, and a darn good friend of the Coin Show podcast. Please welcome Dennis Tucker.
Thank you, Mike. Good to be here.
Dennis, wonderful to talk to you, buddy. It's been a while.
Hey, Matt. It has been a while. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, you too. Glad to have you.
On this very special episode of the Coin Show podcast, live from the Newman Numismatic Symposium, we'll welcome our very special guest. We'll do a live version of the coolest thing to walk into our shop this week, and we'll take Q&A from the symposium watchers. But first, as always, the news.
Oh, buddy. Every show we do this. So who's the news brought to us by this week?
The news is brought to us by Spicy Mike's Hot Sauce, the perfect blend of rational thought and sarcasm, sometimes a little salty, but always a good time. Get you some Spicy Mike's.
Get you some.
And this episode of the Coin Show podcast is also brought to you by Street Signs. Let's face it, you'd be lost without us. We're Street Signs.
I love it.
For the second episode in a row, we have more huge news in the world of coin grading.
This is big. This is big.
Well, introducing NGCX. Insert your own reinvention joke here.
So why don't you go ahead and explain to everybody what this is first?
Okay, so NGC has decided to start an offshoot, a branch of their company, where they're going to grade coins, and they're going to create a new grading scale. They are going to they're going to move things to a 10-point scale just for NGCX.
Yeah, only for some things and only for some people, right?
Correct. And that's kind of where I think it becomes a little diluted.
Right.
No, because well, first off, why do you have to reinvent the wheel on this? Which is kind of what they're doing. I mean, it's clearly a reaction to CAC.
No, I mean,
and PCGS, if you ask me, because PCGS went into card grading.
Well, they've always been card grading. PSA has been kind of the predominant card grader forever. So,
well, this 10-point scale is got,
That-
that's card grading. That's that kind of stuff.
I kind of wonder if this is not an attempt to reach out to people in other collectible fields and maybe relate to them on a levels, because they grade almost everything else, cards, comic books, on a 10-point scale, just like this. And I think that it may be some sort of attempt to get these people to start looking at coins. I'm not quite sure. Dennis, what do you think about this? You've got to have some thoughts.
Well, I've got a direct question for you, Dennis.
Oh,
It's like, other than the obvious having to rewrite all of the numismatic books, which I'm sure would appeal to you, I mean, Ben, what do you think?
Well, I hadn't really thought about that, but
Good
I
job,
think
Mike.
Got to think business.
no, that was in the back of my mind. Would this affect the red book and all the grading guides? I think Matt's onto something, though. I think you're right. I think this is a way to kind of appeal to a more mainstream audience, or in the sense that the cards and comics audience is bigger than coins, and it's kind of a new market for this way of grading. I think for someone coming into the hobby and trying to understand the 70-point system that Sheldon set up many years ago, and really didn't make much sense even for very long back then, that can probably be kind of daunting. I mean, I've been a collector for almost 40 years now, and I feel like I'm just starting to understand grading. So, a lot of people say like a 1 to 100 system or a 1 to 10 system would be easier to digest. So I see this as probably trying to move in that direction.
And do you think that they're going to, is this just kind of in my opinion, I feel like this might be the trial run for converting everything to this system?
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to speculate.
I'm good at that, by the way.
And that's what we do. We just
this news is very fresh, right? I mean, this just came out this past week, so right. I think it'll be something that the hobby community, or certain portions of the hobby community, have to weigh in on, and we'll see if it's popular. I don't think that it's just something to try to encourage resubmissions and make money. I think that there's a little more gravitas behind it, but we'll see where it goes.
Now, there's something that I think not only didn't I think of, but I have to agree with you 100% that this is not a grab for more submissions, which is, I mean, typically when the grading services expand their service in some way, it is typically in some way that will create more submissions. I don't see this as being that. But what I also kind of see in this is that now you're going to have two grading systems side by side, and can they sustain it? That is the real question.
I was thinking about this, and I think that people sending stuff back in for new grades may be a thing, though. I mean, think about the guy that sends the first 1995 W Proof Silver Eagle in for his Mint State 10 grade. I mean, there's going to be some of that if they open it up to the public. Right now, it's not even open to the public. It's just open to some special companies that they have a deal with. You or me could not send a coin in for this kind of grading. At least that's the way I understand it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very select number of dealers that's going to be able to do it. What I see them doing this with, I swear to God, is going to be all the Silver Eagles at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah, for
your
sure.
telemarketers and things like that. Like I said,
They're
I just don't see the
into
need.
Cherrywood boxes.
I don't see the need to reinvent the grading system. I think that people have been wanting to do it forever, and that yes,
right.
A system that has more grading points on it might be in some way.
We don't even use them all as it is.
It might open things up, but it's already complicated. And when you're talking about below mint state, I think it's good the way it is.
Well, sure, of course.
So what are you going to do with all the extra 30 now? So you'll have what, 40 mid-state grades?
No, you'll have who knows? Who knows?
Oh, that's
You know
all I'm
what?
saying.
The
So it's
way-
like,
the way that I understand this is it's really only being marketed to the mass marketers in the first place. So it's only going to be stuff that you see through these mass marketing companies and on TV. Uh, eh,
so that
Yes,
says to me that it has to be done to stuff that doesn't translate into the general coin market.
well, but it might.
Well,
It's-
it'll probably be things that are more like commodities, like you said, American silver eagles, maybe Morgan silver dollars, modern quarters, or I don't know, half dollars maybe. But certainly the bullion pieces. I don't see a lot of colonials and early copper, being graded and traded this way.
I think once they cross that bridge into classic coins, then the writing might be on the wall that this is the way they're going to go for everything. I could be wrong. Again, speculation on my part.
Well, and it's just we have to wait and see, right?
Right. We play the wait and see game with this one.
All right. So in news that's bound to make the phone ring at our shops,
Oh boy.
an authentic 1943 copper set has sold for $300,000. This
What?
coin has been graded as AU50 and has the CAC seal of approval.
Like we talked about a couple shows ago, this is like our yearly 1943 cent sale. It's just happening.
Yeah, it seems to be about right. So, the 43 coppers weren't found right away. They began to surface in 1947, which would lead me to believe that they were not found in circulation, but more likely smuggled from the mint.
Well, I mean, this coin got some wear. It got down to an AU50, so it had to see some.
What
kind
they did with it in the interim, it's just more that they weren't found in circulation, So discoveries are very few and far in between. And to this point, roughly 24 are known.
I believe some people have discovered them in circulation.
Well,
At least that's their story, and they're sticking to it.
right.
So.
Sure.
300,000 is a lot of money.
That's a heck of a lot of money.
That's serious cash for a penny, that's for sure.
Every year. Every
And
year.
like I said,
dude,
and now our phones are going to ring at the shop. I got this 43 penny.
that's just constant. That stops for you sometimes.
Yeah, well, it slows down at times, it seems. I have a 43 copper plated set on my desk that is like one of the best I've ever seen in my entire life. And I love showing it to customers because I've got this really big neodymium magnet and I hold it about 4 inches above the counter edge and sucks it right up into it. It's great. Let's see. America's Hat is honoring the Red Knight, an aerobatic squadron that entertained many people north of the border from 1958 to 1969.
That's cool. It's kind of an interesting looking coin. Still has Her Royal Majesty on it.
For now,
Yep.
yes.
Never yet.
So this coin features a repeating element in the background of the side, graced by Her Majesty, and has a denomination of $30 CA. How do you feel about enameled or colorized coins, Dennis?
Well, they have their market, they have their audience. They certainly attract people into the hobby. Whether they stay with the hobby and become serious numismatists, I don't know. Probably most of them don't. I think they're fun and they have their place.
I love that political answer.
That is so politically correct. That was great.
I don't collect them myself. But and I know a lot of people consider them novelties and would be very upset if the United States Mint went too much further into enameling and colorizing. But they sell. People like them.
Yeah, I think in
Can't argue
certain
with you.
cases, it can be done tastefully and it can be done to enhance something. Like with the
Mhm.
Purple Heart, I thought that was a cool idea. And they made
Yep.
it with a really small mintage, which was cool. Canada is just, they're light years ahead of us in this regard. They make all of these just really small mintage, really specialized collectors.
Yes.
Because they do realize that, look, this is not going to be something that your average type collector is going to go after. This is going to be something that's either going to have a connection to the squadron, a connection to aeronautics or aerobatics, and it's going to be a smaller subset audience.
But they sell out every time. It's crazy. They just seem to know how many they need to make.
So this one is enameled in red, and the aircraft and the distinctive helmet of the Red Knight with its golden plume.
Ooh, just noticed that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The land down under has joined the ranks of countries with series of coins that have multiple releases within the same year. What the heck does that mean, Mike? So check out this new Aussie dollar program, the Great Aussie Coin Hunt #3.
Oh, that's cool.
Which will center around collecting all $26 coins, each featuring a different letter of the alphabet.
Now that is outside the
Okay.
box thinking right there.
Didn't the British Royal Mint do something like this? Or am I thinking of another world mint?
I've
No, it
never
wasn't the
seen one
Brits.
with the alphabet, but that doesn't mean that it didn't exist.
Yeah, I haven't seen one that was this big. I think this might be the biggest series ever, particularly for a single year. I mean, these are all 2022 coins.
And they're all for circulation?
Canada did a provincial set, and I want to say that there was another set that Canada did, but that's only 10 or 12 coins. I guess 26 coins, 26 designs, and all from 1 year.
Are these all going into circulation, or are they just specialty?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
No, they're all going into circulation. This is the Great Aussie Coin Hunt 3. This is kind of like our W quarters that got, dumped into circulation. And so, I mean, as the father of a small child, okay, both of you, it's like, do you think that stuff like this is beneficial? Do you think that your love of coins, you're going to take this and you're going to push this item specifically?
Oh, if my son was in Australia and we could look through our change and find the whole alphabet, he'd love it.
Yeah, totally. I agree. My daughter is 6 years old, and I think she'd have a lot of fun with this.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So I can't believe I got Matt to like something.
Oh, it's not me. It's my kid. My kid likes it.
Now the expensive part is flying down to Australia to look for them. So
yeah, that's for sure. Well, you can
figure that into your budget.
Pal.
And then spending enough money to get the 26 of these back in change.
You can find a pen pal. Those are cheap.
I think it's a fun idea, and I think the United States kind of does things like this with the American Women Quarters and other, of course, the state quarters and national park quarters and other collectible series. But yeah, this is I like the literacy aspect of it. It's got the alphabet. I'm a writer and a book publisher, so I like that aspect.
I was like, how can you not like this, Dennis?
I was actually just sitting here looking at these, and it actually is kind of neat because each letter in the design, it looks like they highlight something uniquely Australian that starts with that letter, like the G for Great Ocean Road is the one I can read from the picture. So that's at least fairly interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really cool designs.
S
They're
for
all
surfing.
somewhat similar, yet somewhat different. They seem to be a series, and yet they're all individual. Look, it's like the United States Mint has done 5 coins in a year, right? But Australia's now laid down the gauntlet as far as series go, right?
Yeah.
Do they offer a second set next year? Do they try to find a larger group to release?
Oh, they do the first 200 digits of pi.
Oh, yeah. And then you have to collect them in order.
Yeah, right.
Hey, here's the thing. You only have to make 10 different coins for that. I actually like that.
Well, for this series, Shrimp on the Barbie could be S or B, Shrimp or Barbie. They kind of play around with, anyway.
Or P for prawn.
What's
or P
just thinking out loud there.
Yeah. So here's my kind of my question of Dennis is, you're CCAC member, right?
Yes.
So when you see a program like this, it's like, how does the CCAC look at it? How do they evaluate it? Do they kind of look at it and go, wow, educational program? Or is it that you're looking to fill a specific need with what you're trying to approve?
Well, in the United States, of course, every coinage program is legislated by Congress. So we would not, I mean, we can advise the Secretary of the Treasury on what we think would make a good coin program, but we're not writing laws and enacting legislation that creates these programs.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, so we're kind of, you know, most of the time we are reviewing and commenting almost after the fact. You know, we're looking at designs that have gone through a design process at the Mint and looking at them from various perspectives, and then advising the Secretary on what we think will make the best coin to be popular and is appropriate for, you know, the broad portfolio of American coinage. So
and so in that, your job really is more to find what fits the need, or to suggest what you're looking at as a menu of things that have, you know, said things in it that you have to go down a checklist. It has to have this,
Well,
it has to have this, it has to have this.
yeah.
Right?
It's not, I mean, the CCAC has 11 members, and each member brings a different perspective, different experiences. So we don't really have a checklist as such when we're reviewing designs. I'm the committee's numismatic specialist, so I will often look at coin programs and individual designs in the context of 250 years of American coinage, or nearly 250 years. We have a member who's an American historian, another one who's an expert in medallic arts or sculpture, a numismatic curator. So, and we have members who are representative of the general public.
Mhm.
So we all bring our different perspectives in, and you know, in the past we would review designs and look at what we thought of their coinability. You know, how is this going to strike up in the manufacturing process?
Right.
So things about die wear and things like that.
Yeah, things like that, metal flow and depth and other factors like that. In recent years, though, we haven't really concerned ourselves as much with that factor, because the Office of Design Management at the Mint and the production folks, they don't present us any designs that would not be coinable. They're constantly thinking about that factor.
Well, that's nice.
Of course, Joe Mena is the chief engraver now, and he brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to that role. So really, coinability is not the factor that it was 5 years ago. You know, or at least in our minds, you know, we feel very comfortable that designs that we look at will strike up well. So,
Okay.
you know, and then you're looking at history. You're looking at you know, are the uniforms historically accurate, and just artistic questions of design and layout, typography, white space, and those types of factors.
Okay. So here's a good example in our next story. The United States Mint has released a new design for the reverse of the 2023 Native American dollar. So
Okay.
this is one of the designs that you have approved.
Yes.
And
Well,
so,
recommended.
okay,
I was gonna
yes,
say,
no,
is
correct.
there-
You're not approving it. The Secretary
Yes.
of Treasury is approving it. You're just kind
Exactly.
of giving your. So let's look at this one, because this has a fairly interesting design on it. And it's like, you know, you talk about the use of negative space. So it's like this design, the Maria Tall Chief, has some negative space in it and is, you know, somewhat you're right. I would think that as far as strike, you know, you have to look at the dead center of the coin, and it's going to be the high spot on both sides.
I almost think
Yes.
we're at a spot where the technology that they're using now just almost eliminates that, having to think about that. I mean, at least I guess I feel like that's where we've gotten to with the technology. I mean, obviously, again, speculation on my part, like usual, but
Well, that's what we do.
yeah, right. I feel like we are, and like I said, when Dennis had mentioned it, you know, in the last 5 years, I feel like they've almost gotten to the point with their technology where they, it's
Well, they're getting so much better that they're now starting to be able to put relief back into
right.
coins.
They
had gotten so flat at one point just to make things strike up, and now they figured out ways that they could base and dies a little bit more, things like that.
There you go. Thank you for finishing that for me, buddy.
A coin that I will sometimes point out as an example of what the mint is remarkably capable of is the 2019 American Legion 100th anniversary $5 gold piece. I mean, if you look at the reverse of that coin in particular, open up your red book and take a look at it next time you have it handy. It's just so finely detailed. The emblem of the American Legion is on this coin. It's just one part of the design of the reverse, and within that you have a star within that emblem, and like little tiny rivets within the star, and it's remarkably detailed. And yeah, it's just, you wouldn't have seen that 100 years ago.
Oh yeah, you're exactly right.
There is just a ton. Thank you, Leanna. So yeah, you've got the Eiffel Tower on it, and you've got all of this just imagery that
you can see every feather on that eagle.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful design. It's well balanced. Yeah, so kudos to the United States Mint. I mean, this is just one example, but what they can translate from sketches into actual coins, it's amazing. Beautiful.
Very
no,
cool.
absolutely.
And the Maria Tallchief coin it's a beautiful design. My daughter took ballet last year. Probably most 5, 6, 7-year-old girls will take some form of dance class at some point. And this is a coin that I am going to be very happy to show to her and talk to her about Maria Tallchief and her sisters and how they kind of brought America onto the international stage of ballet. And it's just a neat coin. Something you might notice is that if you look at it from a distance, the dancers in motion almost look like a flower.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, that was something that we several members of the CCAC noted in our design review. So there's a lot going on here. It's a great design, and I'm really glad that Secretary Yellen chose this one.
Very cool.
That kind of stuff was just not possible, 30 years ago.
No, 5 years ago, obviously.
I had never heard of proof currency, so I learned something new this week.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
So an 1861 interest-bearing $5,000 treasury note recently sold. Now think about how much money that was back then. First,
that's a bunch. What series?
1860. $168,000 today.
Yeah.
So this was just an enormous amount of money. So they weren't saved. Now, like bonds, these interest-bearing notes had 2 coupons that could be redeemed for interest payments at the end of years 1 and 2. And then the note had to be redeemed in year 3 for the interest and the principal. So with that said, all of these were redeemed, leaving only the presentation pieces created for the marketing of the notes. And those are the proofs.
Right. Yeah. The proofs, when I think of a proof note, to me, it translates across to coins almost like what we would consider to be a pattern coin, because sometimes proof notes, they're printers' proofs. Basically, they're designs that they come up with. They want to put it onto a paper and see what it looks like, and sometimes they end up going with that design, and sometimes they don't. So that's where we end up with these from. That's what I translate from coins to a proof note. Not quite the same proof that you think about with a coin,
right? So something I know that Dave Bowers has talked about with proof notes is that a lot of collectors actually prefer having a circulated note that's been signed by the bank president or whomever. Just because it's got some wear to it, it's got some history to it. It wasn't just printed and then put in a back room somewhere for 100 years. I mean, obviously the proofs do have value and they're avidly collected, but I guess it's probably in the coin world, it'd be similar to someone liking a very fine or extremely fine coin more than a mint state coin that looks like every other mint state coin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Something with some
they want
crust
one
or
with
character.
story. They,
I'm sorry, Mike.
they want something with a story. They want something that's
Right.
been there and done that. And this coin or this proof note has not. And I would also think that, having the signatures on it, one would probably make it easier to authenticate.
Yeah, usually, but sometimes like with this note, having a proof is the only way you can get it.
Right. And there are only the proofs. And so these are pretty well documented, I think.
Right.
That, there's 3 of them.
What did it sell for? 60,000 or so. So, it's got its fans out there.
Yeah, that's a lot for a proof note.
Yeah, I mean, for something that was completely not even money. So, although we won't see circulating coins bearing the image of King Charles III until sometime next year, we will likely see new banknotes with the portrait of the king late this year. So, mostly due to the shorter shelf life of notes, many banknotes are replaced years sooner and thus will need replacement notes much sooner than coins, although coins will be minted regardless.
Man, this story is kind of backwards. It says English banknotes featuring King Charles to enter circulation in 2024. And then underneath it says,
by the end of
reveal images by the end of 2022. So which is it, story?
Well, they'll reveal the images by the end of this year.
Oh, okay.
And the notes will enter circulation by 2024.
Yeah.
But my thought is that, they're going to start printing these notes as soon as they can.
Well, I would think
it's a lot going on. I mean, we've never had this problem, right? It's been 70 years since she was on the money. And so now, she's gone and everything's got to change. And
it gives them a chance to innovate and add new features to their notes and change things if they wanted to. And so I mean, it's definitely a chance for that. I think that's what they're going to do. So
yeah, they're going to go.
And no doubt been in planning for some time, just
sure.
Yes, almost morbidly so. Yes.
I imagine all of these notes and coins will kind of be like the 1964 Kennedy $50, where everybody saves them. And for that reason, they'll always be pretty common and high grade, but they're collectible. They're going to be the first coins and notes of King Charles, and that will have a lot of sentimental value for British and American and Canadian and other collectors.
$1 silver certificates. That's what they remind me of. I mean, you can find them by the stack. They're every place.
Yeah, you'll be getting them in your coin shop with people who think they're worth $1 million.
Yeah, well, I already have people asking. It's like they come in. Hey, yeah, stuff with the queen on it still worth stuff. Oh,
I've had a couple already. Yep,
they're still making it.
Yep.
Sorry. So
at least people are thinking. That's good. I mean, it's
oh yeah.
Yeah, they're thinking
about the
hobby. Going to
hobby.
make some money on this. That's usually what they're thinking. So the UK is already minting circulation coins bearing the king's image. The first of which will be a 50p coin commemorating the life of the queen. This will be released in late December. I would think that any regular circulation coins bearing his portrait will bear the year 2023. Probably. I don't think they've ever made a coin with 2 different monarchs from the same calendar year before.
I don't think they've had a chance.
Well, no, they have, because there's always a time. There's a interregnum time.
Sure.
Which is the time in between the 2 monarchs before the coronation of one and, after the death of the other. And so you have these periods, like one of the more famous ones is the 1936 when King George died and they put the dot on the cents.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's all that kind of stuff. So 2 monarchs in one calendar year is kind of that's
Mike, take a look at the picture here and note the date on the coin that's in the picture.
I know.
Well, they've made coins with her majesty on them this year as well. So I think that 2022 would be a year where they made both.
Well, this is a memorial coin. This is a commemorative coin. This is not a circulation.
Oh, you're talking about for circulation.
Correct.
See. Okay. That's just 10-4, picking up what you're putting down, buddy.
There you go. Now we're on the same page. But so there's a lot of things that are going to change. One of the things I think is kind of odd is when people buy sovereigns. The kings are always worth more than the queens. I don't know if that's going to stay the same now.
I don't know either.
Interesting.
I never knew that was a thing, but yeah.
Yeah, they ask when they come in. I don't know why. So let's see. And as we get fired up for these coins with the new king, the PNG reminds us to be wary of pretenders. So this period right now will be rife with coins that commemorate either the new king or the queen's life, but have absolutely no minting authority under which to do so.
Of course.
And because of which, one should be kind of wary in buying coins that commemorate either monarch. The PNG warns that many of these issues will be made, that very few will actually be collectible, and that if you like a specific coin, buy it, then all means buy it, but don't expect a return down the road.
Yeah.
I think
It's good advice.
I'm reading the story here. It sounds like they're speaking from experience because they cite the President John F. Kennedy, and Lord knows there are a lot of medals, tokens, and coins for him. So sounds like it's something that may have happened before in our country.
Yeah, Whitman actually has a book on that subject.
Really?
The Numismatic Art of John F. Kennedy by William Royce. Yeah, and it's thousands and thousands of coins, medals, tokens, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Huh. That's really cool. I didn't know you guys had that. Mike, you have it on your shelf?
I do. There is a book of the Kennedy in what is it? Medallic art.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what they're.
So there'll probably be books on King Charles at some point, and new books on Queen Elizabeth, and
she was she was amazingly popular, and so that is going to that's going to kind of be a big plus for her. It's going to be a negative for him because it's like following Jerry Lee Lewis after he lights the piano on fire. It's just a tough act to follow.
Yes.
I'll spit my water out.
I know. If I don't do that to you once a show, man, I'm not happy. Let's see. The United States Mint produced over 1 billion coins in the month of September.
They're just cranking on all cylinders, man. The post-pandemic production levels are here to stay.
So this ranks as number 11 of the last 13 production months. Yes. So it does appear that the Mint is continuing to produce coinage at a pace that could create a surplus if much older coin starts to re-enter circulation anytime soon.
I'm just looking through this and thinking about the pandemic, and they really just, it seems like they just were able to maintain production straight through. I mean, you think September of 21, that was.
What do you think of our friend Ventress Gibson now?
I'm not mad. She is doing the job she was tasked with, and there you go.
To quote hip hop, doing it well. The Mint's most prolific product is, of course, the cent by a margin of 2-1, and even 100 million nickels and all of these at a loss. But with that fact, the production dipped last month. I believe that the U.S. is being supplied with all the coin that they need, and I only wonder what will happen if people decide to start spending coins again.
Yeah. Well, that I guess we're going to find out. There's a need for them, or they would not be producing 1 billion coins a month.
About a year ago, I started noticing, believe it or not, Kennedy $50 in circulation here in Atlanta.
Really?
They actually made 2022s, was it, Dennis? I think, for circulation. It was the first year. Yeah.
Oh, I would have to. Was it 2021 or 22? Yeah, they
actually
were
made them for
distributed through the
circulation,
Fed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which normally you would not see.
Well, somebody had to be spending them. Somebody had to be running them out because they don't make them for no reason whatsoever.
Post offices
clearly was no demand event.
I asked the manager of my local Quick Trip where I occasionally stop in for a frozen Coke and a hot dog, because that's a healthy book publisher lunch. And they were paying out, they were actually either paying out receipts, like a modern day script note, because they didn't have change, and they would give you a receipt from the cash register, good for 63 cents or whatever your change would have been. And then you could either, I saw some people just toss that out, as an inconvenience, but in theory, you could come back in and use it as cash. But then they were also handing out $50 for a few weeks. So I finally asked the manager, what's the story with these $50? He said they could not get quarters from their bank, but the local banks had quantities of $50, so they were, give them to us. We'll start paying those out. But he said that a lot of people were excited by them. A lot of people, they stop, they look at their pocket change, they say, "Oh, I remember these. My grandpa used to give me these," or, "I'm going to keep this." And so it became kind of maybe an entry point for some people who might not even stop and look at their pocket change and maybe hopefully join the hobby. So I thought that was kind of promising to see that.
Yeah.
You know what I think is ironic is that before 1964, the $50 was the workhorse of the American economy. More people had them in their pockets than any other denomination. Now, inflation has created a world where, and I'm not talking about current inflation, I'm just talking about over the intervening, 60 years. Inflation has made it to where, the dollar buys so much less, and the workhorse of the American economy is the quarter. And we don't use $50 whatsoever, not at all. That martyr thing is still stuck on it. And I think may end up being stuck on it until they redesign the half. I think that's going to be the only way they get it to circulate again.
I don't know about that.
Well, the $50 will be, we'll have a new $50 in 2026, right, for the semi-sesquicentennial. Say that one 5 times fast.
Sure, that's a big word, isn't it?
Yeah, and but yeah, I would love to see the $50 in circulation again.
Well, is that a permanent, or is that just like the bicentennial halves where they're going to do a different?
It is centennial. It's got to be just a 1 year, 2 year.
Yeah, that's a 1 year design, but then the obverse and reverse will change again. So there's a lot in the works for American coinage over the next few years.
Ooh, scoops.
A lot going on.
Scoops.
Well, he should know.
Apparently not. And finally in the news, the American Numismatics Association is now accepting scholarship applications for the Summer Seminar 2023.
Ooh, there you go, guys. Get on it.
Recipients will have the opportunity to attend one of the 2 week-long sessions to be held June 17th through the 22nd or June 24th through the 29th on the Colorado College campus adjacent to ANA headquarters in Colorado Springs.
Mike has been. He loves it.
I'm going again.
I was going to say.
I'm going again this year. My question is, are you going this year because you know that your son's going to want to go?
I know he does. And unfortunately, getting out of my office for that long a time is not possible. I wish it was.
Matt, how old is your son?
I have 3 sons, actually. I have an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And my 12-year-old is his father's son. He loves coins. He loves the coin shop. He
Great.
is collecting a certified typeset as we speak.
Boy, can he put away the beer.
No.
Well, can't you leave him to run the shop while you go and teach a course? Or
I wish that'd be nice, but no, I'm afraid of what I would come back to.
At some point he will. You know this.
Oh, it's coming down the pipes. The boy is genuinely interested, not simply because I do it either. He loves it. So
that's great.
Yeah, I'm a proud dad.
I try not to push coins on my daughter. I just kind of make it seem like it's a grown-up thing, and maybe when you're older you might be interested in almost like a forbidden, just something for adults, so she is intrigued by it. I know if I tried to make her be interested in them, that'd be all over.
Yep.
No, and he does make her write 3 pages a night.
and edit.
I make her proofread the red book, so yeah. That's good practice.
So young numismatists and adults are going to be available. YNs can apply for financial aid through the A&A Young Numismatist Scholarship Program and the Martin D. Weiss Memorial Scholarship, or now the David Lasso Memorial YN Scholarship. Applicants must be full-time students aged 13 to 17. Adults 18 and older can receive full or partial assistance through the Robert C. Leachy, I think it is, Advanced Scholarship Program. The Charles O. Brown Scholarship is available for applicants aged 15 to 25. Attending Session 2, Advanced United States Coin Grading for Problem Coins class. Let's see, the full scholarships include both room and board for 1 week, tuition and airfare, and partial scholarships for all applicants cover tuition only. Recipients will be selected based on need and merit. Scholarship applications are available at money.org. Select summer seminar from the events drop-down menu and must be postmarked no later than February 14th of 2023. For additional information, contact the A&A Seminars Department at seminars@money.org.
Valentine's Day.
Now, I am going next year. I will tell you that. I see myself in the first session because I'm pretty sure which class I'm going to take. And I know if I ask for this class, I'll get it.
Oh, there you go, buddy.
I think it's wonderful that the ANA is giving these scholarships. I don't know if they mention it in the press release, but I know that there are some hobby groups that also will pay your way if you write an essay or kind of do a similar application for a scholarship.
I think my local coin club here in town does it.
Yeah. Okay.
Coin clubs.
Yeah, and you might have not only your local coin club, but maybe if there's some sort of a state organization or something bigger like that. It's like when you get ready to go to college, you need to look under all the rocks for scholarships, because there are tons of them out there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think that.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think like the original Hobo Nickel Society has one, and probably the Civil War Token Society. So, there are specialized groups that you can join, and that's kind of a benefit of membership in these hobby groups. They offer scholarships like this.
Well, and the summer seminar is like the Super Bowl of numismatic education, really.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yes. So, I mean, I totally applaud everybody that puts effort into either teaching these classes, attending these classes, or sending, numismatists that may not be able to go on their own to these classes. So
It's an amazing event.
Yes. And I'm really, unfortunately, sad that I'm not able to participate, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately.
I've gone twice as an instructor. I've never gone as a student, and I want to go as a student. As much fun as I had teaching a class, I would love to see go to the metals classes and the grading classes and Mexican coins and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, and then the networking opportunities, the people that you meet,
that
you would not meet because they're from the other coast or they're from, someplace else, is just phenomenal. So just an absolutely wonderful learning opportunity. And and
going to lunch at the ANA summer seminar, I mean, that alone is like an opportunity of a lifetime.
And it's a good spread.
It is.
Spread.
I gained like 10 pounds, but you could have lunch with Ken Brissett and
every day if you want.
Legends.
Yeah. I made a point out of not sitting with anybody more than once.
Oh, that's good.
For the entire week I was there, it was 2 meals a day, and I sat with different people every single meal.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. And that's the news. And the news tonight was brought to us by let's see, Spicy Mike's Hot Sauce.
And street signs, right?
Yeah. Spicy Mike's Hot Sauce, perfect blend of rational thought and sarcasm, sometimes a little salty, but always a good time. Get you some Spicy Mike's Hot Sauce today.
Get you some.
And by Street Signs. Let's face it, you'd be lost without us. We're Street Signs.
That's still good.
You're listening to the Coin Show podcast with Matt Dinger and Mike Nottelmann.
So one of our more popular ventures on this show.
More popular?
I think the coolest thing is possibly the most popular thing that we do.
That's where I was going with that. Yes, I agree.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Selling you short there. So we have been going back and forth showing coins that walk into our respective shops now for a couple of years.
Mhm.
And for the most part, Matt has been being embarrassed.
Whatever.
And
Manhandle
he
you
and
all the time.
he has been talking mad game
Not talking, walking.
for the
Brad.
past like 3 months and showing up. So I'll give him credit for that. But tonight we have a judge
We do
for
that.
Matt's
too.
spanking.
Oh, whatever, buddy. Whatever, friend. All right. Why don't you go first then, Mr. Cockiness?
Okay.
Go for it.
We have one of the all-time classic coins. This one is a PCGS graded AU58 1955 double die Lincoln cent.
These things make me dizzy.
They do. And to be honest with you, this one has, I think, even a little doubling in Lincoln himself. These coins are they're spectacular. They are always cool. I cannot show this to enough customers in the store. And this is the double die that everybody wants.
It's the big one. It's the biggest one. It's
And possibly the best grade.
If nobody in the world has heard of a double die in the United States, the 55 double die still may be the one coin that they've actually heard of when it comes to double dies. So,
and once they see it, they won't forget it. That's for sure.
That's right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it would be fun to watch somebody's eyes as they look at it for the first time, not expecting this, of course.
Right. I actually use pictures. Whoa, my screen flickered. There we go. Sorry. I actually use pictures of this coin when I'm helping to explain to people what double dies are. So
this one might be the best teaching tool there is, because
it really is.
The spread in Liberty,
right.
How it has a pickup point and how it starts to move away from itself as you go from the Y to the L. That is probably the best education on double dies that there is.
Yeah. And that's a cool coin and all, but I got you whooped. I bought something super cool this last week, and I guarantee you, Mike, you have never owned these. I bought not one,
of them.
Not two, not three, but 4 original BU rolls of 1909 VDB cents in beautiful blazing red condition.
And there are some 6s in there.
There's some 7s in there, my friend. This is a very, very nice group of coins. They, unlike a lot of early rolls, there were not a lot of spotting issues on these coins. So we got the coins. I got them out of the old rolls that they were in just to get a look at them.
Were they in paper?
No. They were in those hard old plastic shrinky rolls.
Egrig tubes.
Yeah, they were bad.
Oh my God,
I had to get them out without hurting them. It was a long, tedious, careful
freezer
process. No, I used a heat gun.
Okay, you went the other way.
I went the other way. But once I got them out, I realized these coins are all very, very nice coins. So we put them in new tubes, got them all nice and compressed tightly in there, shipped them off to the grading companies for bulk grading. So,
wow.
4
so
original.
They grade
rolls.
everything 6 and above.
These are going to go 64 and above, because I think 64 red still matters enough that I want to grade it.
They're going to grade probably 150 of these.
Okay, that's fine with me.
So then you're going to have a flood.
Okay, that's fine.
Is there anything that's worse for a market than 150 or something?
You know what? These coins are common enough that 150 pieces is not going to change much. 200, even if they grade them all, 200 coins is not going to change the market that much. They're very popular coins. People love them. They're, in lower grades, they're super affordable, and
which these are not.
Well, no, I mean, there's might be some 4s and 5s in there, and that's fine. But I just thought it was super cool. I've been doing this professionally for 20 years, and I have not owned one of these, and I bought 4 of them in one shot. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, do they come with a little box of S's, tiny S's?
When I first saw
That
them,
you
I
could
was
solder
hoping. I
on.
had my fingers crossed before I
Yeah.
popped the first top off that there was an S roll, but there was not. I couldn't be that lucky. But
just one. You don't even want a budget, just one.
I know, just one, just accidentally had one there. You know, I would have been happy. So, yeah, that was my coolest thing this week. Mike, you lose.
Okay, so look, we could put Dennis on the spot and we could ask him what he thinks is cooler, or we could just leave it up to our Facebook friends.
That's true.
So you can go to Friends of the Coin Show podcast, which is our Facebook group, and we'll have this posted this week so that you can vote. Dennis, if you wanted to break his heart, you could.
I have a favorite, but I think it might be safest if I wait and see what the public says.
I love your
they're both
politician.
remarkable, but yeah, one of them is really really special.
One, see, that's what he's talking about. So, all right, so that was the
one
coolest thing.
of the two selections.
So that was
So
the coolest
if you
thing.
love Lincoln Sense, this is
Best
this is
coolest
a great
thing ever,
show.
right? Yeah, I know.
Might be the coolest thing ever. I have to give you props. This walking into your shop is very cool.
Certainly did not expect that day when I walked into the office that I was going to be spending like 6 hours getting pennies out of tubes trying to not hurt them while I was doing it.
Well, I think that was still a financially good move.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had to do it, but it was a long day.
So
Lincoln Cents are so popular. We're currently working on the 4th edition of Dave Bauer's guidebook of Lincoln Cents. So save photographs of these two finds, and I'll see if I can work them in.
Ooh, I like it.
See, there you go.
There you go. All right.
So that was the coolest thing to walk into our shop. And let's see, we have a live studio audience.
I know it's weird.
And we have promised that we would answer questions.
We've got some.
Absolutely. I'd love to answer them. So why don't we go to that?
We'll have our lovely host come back and.
All righty. So a few of these in here are kind of more comments. So we'll focus on the questions.
Yeah, because you don't have to tell us we suck. We know.
Get off the air. Sorry.
You're good. Do you know the mintage of the Australian Aussie coins? The dollar series with the alphabet.
Do not. Let me do a little quick research while you read the next question.
Okay. Let's see. Then the next question will be, isn't it true that the ANA is looking for donations to the scholarship program you mentioned from companies or individuals? I thought I read that in Coin World.
I mean, I think that it probably always are. The more donations they get, the more that people they can send, and I got to think that's just a constant need with those guys. So I don't think it's anything special for them to have placed that out there in the public. I think it's a constant need for those guys.
All right, and then just a reminder to the audience, you can still send in questions, even though we started going through them. So feel free to send in others as we're going here. I will give a warning when we get down to the last one. So.
And the answer to the question is they have an unlimited mintage.
Do you think they're going to make you think they're going to go through and just like, hey, mate, let's not make so many R's. Do you think they're going to make an intentional rarity? Like
R is for rare.
Rare.
I'll tell you what, I think that some of the letters that they've used are kind of, like the X.
What'd they do for that?
So they did Xanthor Hoya, which is a
yes. Yes.
That's cool.
Ulysses Butterfly, Tim Tam, which is a chocolate cookie, Queen Victoria's Market, Nobby's Nuts, Bren.
Now, the United States would not be able to do something with Tim Tam or Coca-Cola or
no.
Kodak film or anything.
Yeah, and they even have Cherry Ripe, which is a candy bar. But B is for
Bogan
barbecue.
Oh,
Babby. You got to put something on the Babby.
I love it.
All right, a question for Dennis. What would you say are the most important books that every numismatist should have in their collection?
Great question.
Wow. I would just to popularize the hobby, I would break that down to the entry-level books, because obviously if you specialize, you get into, you get pretty deep into the weeds, but and this is going to sound self-serving, but I do believe that every collector should have a copy of the Red Book. I think that goes without saying. If you're a little more intermediate to advanced, I think that Mega Red is a wonderful book. You get 1,500 plus pages of content, and the featured sections change every year. So if you have a library of, we're up to volume 8 now. You've got half cents through gold, the beginning of gold dollars and other oddball denominations in the latest volume. We've got 20-cent pieces and things like that. But so yeah, I mean, I have to say the Red Book is the book to have.
And you could probably stop a bullet with a Mega Red. Just saying.
You could. They say this soldier back in World War I was saved on the battlefield by a copy of the second volume.
There you go. See,
Mike, I feel a YouTube video coming on here.